Hello, I'm Wing Commander Devendra Kumar Sachan, retired from Indian Air Force. Welcome to my life page. Today I shall talk about military flying. But before that, I would like to introduce myself. I belong to Kanpur, did my initial schooling from Kendriya Vidyalaya, got fascinated with the Indian Air Force pilots from a very early age. Matter of fact, in class 7th, I joined Scouts and Guides, and later in class 9th, I joined the Junior Wing NCC in year 1981. I participated in all kinds of sports and specialized in javelin throw, where I represented nationals in the KVs. From 1985 to 87, I joined Senior Wing Air Wing NCC, did several camps. My first camp in Senior Wing NCC was the annual training camp at IIT Kanpur, where I got an opportunity to fight for the best grade, and luckily I was adjudged the best grade of UP. Thereafter I never looked back. After a few months, I was asked to attend CM's rally camp at Lucknow, where again I was asked to represent number 3 UP Air Squadron NCC Kanpur, and I was adjudged once again the best cadet of UP and got a gold medal. Thereafter, I was selected for Republic Day camp. After selection of Republic Day camp, we were supposed to undergo the pre-Republic Day camp at Lucknow, and I was to represent UP as a Air Wing Best Cadet. In January 1986, I did Republic Day camp at Delhi, which was the most prestigious camp for any NCC cadet. That too, I represented as a Best Cadet of UP. I did very well. I was adjudged the best drill and turnout cadet, got Cherry Blossom Trophy at Delhi. I got a huge exposure, met all NCC cadets from the country, participated in cultural activities. Being a best cadet, I was supposed to participate in all kinds of activities. Along with these competitions, there was another selection for the youth exchange program, where we are supposed to go to some few of selected foreign countries and interact with their youths, and in turn they come to our country and interact with us. I was selected for UK. However, I couldn't go because of my BSc. Along with the NCC, I continued my BSc. I did my graduation from DAV College Kanpur in year 1987. Same time, I kept on preparing for my dream job, which was to become a pilot in the Indian Air Force. It was a very difficult decision to attend the Republic Day camp while undergoing the graduation in the science subject. However, as my dream was to become pilot, and for that it was a very big milestone. So I took a calculated risk and went through the Republic Day camp, which paid off me very well. During the Republic Day camp, I had the opportunity to have the breakfast with then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi at their residence. I had opportunity to have the breakfast with then President of India, Shri Gyani Jail Singh. I had a breakfast with then Air Chief Marshal LaFontaine. This was a very big, huge exposure, and I had made up my mind that now no one can stop me from becoming an officer in the Indian Air Force. My sacrifice and decision to go through the Republic Day camp while doing the BSc paid off me very well. I got selected in the Indian Air Force through NCC C certificate entry in year 1987. and joined the training at Air Force Station Begumpet in January 1988. My initial training at Air Force Station Begumpet, Hyderabad was basic familiarization with the defense culture, initial studies about the flying and the rules and regulations about and getting groomed into the Air Force life. After finishing 6 months at Air Force in Begumpet, we went on short leave and rejoined at Air Force Station Dundigal. After short leave, we rejoined at Air Force Academy Dundigal for our initial flying training. Initial flying training was very difficult. Too much of pressure, too much of multitasking, being a bad weather phase during the monsoons, there too much of pressure to finish the flying in stipulated times. During initial flying, the direct entry cadets who come through, who are not through the NDA, we meet together. The cadets from NDA and the direct entry cadets, we start flying together, doing the same syllabus. First 6 months is very difficult. The people who joined the defense services through NDA, that is after 12th, they joined the NDA. They get trained at Pune, Khadagwasla for 3 years. They get their graduation degree from JNU, and after passing out from NDA, they join at Air Force Station Dundigal, Hyderabad for the initial flying. Our initial flying was carried out on a jet trainer, the Kiran Mark II, a very high-speed aircraft used as a fighter also. It was a big jump from the glider flying in the NCC to a jet flying immediately. The initial training commenced with the MCF, that is maintenance conversion flight, where we were taught about the aircraft specific, its procedures, its systems, its emergencies, etc., etc. Thereafter, we went to a simulator flying, where we learned the basics of the flying. During the initial flying, we were supposed to do blindfold checks, which means even if we close our eyes, our hands should reach the specified switch without looking at them. To practice that, we used to make the complete cockpit diagram in our rooms. Even we used to put our cockpit diagram in our toilets. Before sitting in the toilet, we were going through the switches. Where is one switch is there? Where is that switch? We used to practice, revise the emergencies, checks and procedures. It was told to us, and what we experienced, even if you are 200% sure, 200% thorough with the checks and procedures, as soon as the engine starts, you will remember only 20%, which we saw it practically happening. So you can well imagine how difficult it was, the initial flying. Apart from doing so much of theory work plus flying, we were supposed to undergo the PT, parade and the evening games, which are part of being an officer, grooming up of an officer. Same time, we are not allowed to study late nights. There will be light out at 10 o'clock. Compulsorily, no one is supposed to continue beyond 10, so as to get up early morning next day for the morning health run. After morning health runs, we used to come back, change over quickly, have breakfast, pick up our cycles, go to flying wing and attend the morning briefing. The very interesting feature was that in the morning briefing, after the weather and the airfield information, the person will say the jungle gym is operating on the northern shoulder, southern shoulder of so and so runway. All of us remained confused what is jungle gym for close to 1 to 2 months before we actually saw what is jungle gym. We were surprised. Jungle gym was a tractor run machine which was used to cut the grasses on the runway shoulders. The most fascinating and interesting part was undergoing the first solo. We were supposed to undergo the solo flight on such a big aircraft within the specified time frame and the number of hours. I did my first solo within 21 hours. First solo was the ultimate experience which can never be forgotten in life. You realize all of a sudden that no one is sitting on the right side, you are alone, and you did a perfect sortie. After finishing initial flying training, we again went back to our homes for a short duration and returned back for advanced training at Bidar, Karnataka, where our advanced flying was started, where we were supposed to fly close from. In advanced flying, we did low-level navigations, long route navigations, close formations, night flying, day flying, aerobatics, range firing, where we practiced bombing, rocket firing, the gun firing. We all were prepared for a fighter pilot. However, after completing the advanced flying, after trifecting board, we were selected for the 3 different streams of the military flying, that is fighters, transports and helicopters. Unfortunately, during my initial stage of flying, I had undergone a small emergency. I flew with the ear blocked and busted my eardrums, got into the pressure vertigo problem, because of which in the advanced stage of flying I had to undergo the tonsils operations and many other tests. Because of my pressure vertigo problems, I was told very categorically that you won't be able to fly fighters. This was a big shock to me, as I was hardcore fighter pilot. However, I chose to join the transport stream. After completing our flying training, advanced flying training, we all regathered at Air Force Academy, Dundigal for our passing out parade, where we did the drills. And on 16th June 1988, when we got commissioned and our pips were removed and we were declared the pilot officers and the wing was placed on our chest, the proudest moment for all of us. Thereafter, we were officers and the pilot in the Indian Air Force. After passing out, we all went to different streams. The transport pilots went to Air Force Station Yalanka for their specialized flying training on transport aircrafts for 1 year. The fighter pilots went to Tejpur and Hashimara, and the helicopter pilots went to Hakimpet, Hyderabad. Thereafter, we all did 1 year of specialized flying and finally started our task as transport pilot, fighter pilots and helicopter pilots. My first posting was at Delhi. We were carrying out the VIP flying from Delhi to all over the country. However, there is a certain changes taken place over a period of time. Now, the advanced flying which we all have done together for the fighters at Bidar has been discontinued. Now, for advanced, last 6 months of training flying is done at respective places, namely Yalanka, Hakimpet and Bidar. During my tenure as Air Force pilot, I have been posted Delhi, Bangalore, Guwahati, Bhuj, Hyderabad, Baroda, Ahmedabad, and finally I came on deputation to Government of Uttarakhand, Dehradun, and took premature retirement in year 2010. Now let's discuss about what is military flying. Military flying encompasses all the flying except commercial flying, namely fighter, helicopter, transport, UAV, trainers, aerobatic teams, test flying, glider flying, and microlight flying. Military flying is different from civil flying as the main factor is here you are first an officer, thereafter you are a pilot. Here you can join as an officer after doing class 12th with science and maths through NDA, or through CDS after doing graduation but having science and maths in 12th. Another entry is through NCC entry after doing C certificate. The military flying includes, apart from the Indian Air Force, the Army and the Navy. In the Army, you can join the Army Aviation Corps for the helicopter flying, and in the Navy, you have got all three: helicopters, transports, and fighters, where you can experience the deck flying, offshore flyings, which is a different challenge altogether. Same time, you can be part of the Coast Guards. However, all the flying, military flying training in the country is undertaken at Air Force Academy, Dundigal. Now let's discuss what education is required for military flying. Flying as such, the compulsory subjects are physics and maths.